She wanted me to be an actor and I was an actor. Today, after 26, 27 years, I'm still working. Continue being who I am. Happy Women's Day, and there are nice things written about women. We are girls before we become mothers, and when we become mothers, we are only mothers. We cease to be anything else. हम लोग बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में जिगरा है.
Rani, welcome to India today. You know, I always look forward to these conversations with you because truly there can be no other Rani Mukerji than the one who's sitting in front of me. Often imitated but never duplicated. There just can't be another Rani. And I'm also saying this because I've just come back after watching the trailer that's truly hit me in a way that I never imagined. Mrs Chatterjee Vs Norway is the name of a film. With no, I watched it with no pre-support, expectations. Okay, this is how it will be. But I got goosebumps literally when I sat through that. The emotions that came up. I want to talk to you about the fact that you've always sort of defied norms. You have always sort of broken the convention. You don't go with norms, you set norms. When you were doing this particular film, and I'm talking to you about this because the trailer is breaking trends right now, what was your mindset? What space were you in?
See, for me, I think it's very simple. I either connect with a story, and if it moves me as a person, I think that for me is a clincher to basically be part of the film or no. And whether the story that I'm telling through this film is a story that I want millions of people to watch. Because when this actual incident happened in 2011, when the media picked up the story and everything, I had not seen this coverage. So it was my ignorance at that time that I did not see this coverage. And for me to discover this story in 2021, when they actually came to me with the film. So for me, it was that I was actually in shock that something like this had actually happened to a person. And as I'm told, that things are happening like this even today. So yeah, it was a story that needed to be told, and it was a mother's story, her courage, her fight, her love, her resilience, her helplessness, everything that had to do with her in that story, I think needed to be out there. And this film is actually a tribute to all mothers that are there in this world.
You know what's interesting is the emotions you mentioned right now, that every mother goes through irrespective of age, where you come from. Interestingly, that is also what everybody feels when they see your films. If you look at everything that you've done till date, and I want to speak to you a bit about that. We're doing a special segment called What Women Want with Rani Mukerji on Women's Day. Back in the day when you came out and everybody spoke about how an actress needs to have a certain height, she needs to look a certain way, she needs to sound a certain way. You didn't fit in any of those boxes. In fact, your voice became your USP much later. There was that whole phase where she doesn't sound like an actor. You look at her, you see her. What was your reaction when you would hear those comments perhaps from peers or from friends? You need to maybe change your voice. Did anybody ever tell you, maybe your baritone is too heavy, you need to change that, work on that earlier on?
Earlier on, I think I was a very obedient child to my mum, and she wanted me to be an actor, and I was an actor. And all these things that come, peripherally for actors, how they are judged or what they are expected to do, that was something that I never really looked at, because for me it was a job that I was doing, and I was coming back home to my parents, and it made them happy that I was working. So nothing else mattered to me. And the fact that I was getting work after work didn't deter me from really sitting down and wondering that, are these things supposed to be, am I supposed to look into these things, or am I supposed to take them so seriously? Because right from my first film that released, Raja Ki Aagi Barat, people accepted me, my peers or my colleagues, so to say, accepted me. That's why they worked with me in the next films. So I would kind of think that everybody was really, really kind to me, and it was their love and it was their encouragement, because of which I'm here today after 26, 27 years. I'm still working, and it can only happen when your fans, your colleagues, your well-wishers, people in the industry really encourage you to do well. Because I would not be able to break any stereotype or any norms if the audience hadn't accepted me with this. If you say that my voice became my USP, it's because it became a USP because people accepted it. Had it not been accepted, it would not have become my USP. And whether me with being a certain height or a certain skin color or a certain whatever you try to mold me in, if the audience hadn't accepted me as who I am, I don't think you would be asking me this question or telling me or giving me credit for it. Like, I don't think I need to take credit for something that my fans kind of helped me embrace, you know. They are the ones who accepted me in that mold. And they are the ones who broke their thinking of the stereotype. They are the ones who said that, okay, we are not going to only like actresses who are tall, who are fair. We are also going to like actresses who are short and who are not that fair skinned. You know, so it was the stereotype that the audiences broke in their heads, not really me. I was who I was and who I am today. I am the same person.
And thank God for that.
And I'll continue being who I am. But I think it's always the mindset that people have. They are the ones who are breaking the stereotype that they have already like conditioned themselves to think that that is what the norm should be.
Absolutely, and credit due. I mean, it's the audience and their undying, unconditional love for you.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just too grateful to them because even when I got married and when I had a baby, the way they accepted Hitchki, which was my first film after Motherhood, they just like really gave me so much love with that film. And that film truly still remains to be so special to me because, as you said, you know, people put so many labels and norms and say, oh, this will not work and that will not work and this and but then again, I have to give credit to the producer who was brave enough to produce a film with me, the director who came with this amazing, absolutely amazing story to me that needed to be told again, a story of a person who's suffering from Tourette's. Yes. I think a lot of people in India got educated that there was a syndrome like that called Tourette's. So yeah, so all these things are probably path breaking in my life because my audience has helped me to make my journey path breaking. You know, I can not on my own do anything. On my own, I can just be part of a film that I believe in. But till the audiences together don't believe in that film with me, it cannot be a path-breaking moment for me in my life.
Absolutely. So if the Rani of 2023 had to look back at that Rani, first day on the set of Raja Ki Aayegi Baraat, cameras and lights and chalo, let's get ready, give that shot. What's the one piece of advice you would give her?
I would not like to give her any advice because I think she did what she did in her career. She failed many times. She also got up and she did what she had to do. So yeah, I think I wouldn't like to give her any advice because it's very important to start from a place where you are completely raw. And then I believe that the people who I worked with, whether they were my co-stars or my directors or the numerous technicians who I worked with, I learned a lot from them in my journey of being an actor. So I learned so much. You know, I can't think that I need to do a film. Like I wouldn't like a Rani at that time to be suddenly come with knowing everything.
Right.
You know, I'm just happy for who she was because I think I've learned in my journey and I'm continuously learning even like today. Right. Like even today when I, you know, meet new makeup artists or hairstylists or new director of photography or, you know, any technician on set, I get to know what they're doing through what they're doing with their work because they are in touch with what's the new trend, what is happening today, what are the kind of things that are coming in technology, what all is happening. So it's like, it's such a big world out there in films, which you come on a film set and then you get to learn so many new things. So it's always fascinating for me to keep learning and I would like to continue being a student in cinema always.
Yeah, and you know what's also interesting is you remember the name of all the DOPs of the people who worked back set. I remember in the last conversation, you actually remembered the names of the cameramen of films perhaps like 10, 15 years back. Like that's how invested you were.
Because I feel like, you know, writers who write the story, the screenplay writers, the dialogue writers, the editors, the director of photography, all of them are so crucial. Like the sound people, the people who mix the sound for our films, all of them are just so important for how a movie is made. Like, you know, we land up getting so much of the credit for a film, whereas actually there are all these people who are actually making a movie together. It's never a single person's job. Like even a director, I would say, cannot take credit for a film on his own because he's also aided by such able technicians who come with their expertise and make this film so special. you know. So I think it's very important to acknowledge them at the right time, and it's also important to acknowledge their contributions to a film, because without them, that film would not have been the film that the audiences get to watch.
Right.
Finally on big screen.
And the audiences had a very tough time. We had to shortlist a few films of yours, 5 women characters, and what's the inspiration you've taken from them? It's been a very tough job for me because all are iconic, all are groundbreaking. There is something we've taken from each one of them, but here's my list so far. Shivani Roy in Mardani, what's the one thing you took from her?
Okay, I think Shivani is one of my favorite characters because it was the first time I played a female cop. It was the first time that I got to delve into the lives of police officers in Mumbai city. Like, I'm born and brought up in Mumbai. Right. I know about Mumbai police. But the way I had to know about them, because I was playing one of them, I had to research and I had to literally go and spend time with the officers, spend time in the crime branch offices, which are actually spread out in Mumbai city, but we don't know that. Citizens, normal civilians would not know, because it's very much in the thick of things, but you'll never know that this is a crime branch office, because it's kind of like it's like a hideout, but it's not really a hideout. Yeah, it's camouflaged. And just to be there, I'm like, really, there's a crime branch office here. And then to, see the fascinating world of, the police officers, what their lives are, how do they live this daredevilry that they go through day in and day out. They are basically dealing with crime every day from morning to night. What do their families go through, when they leave the house in the morning, and they're actually relieved when they come back home in the evening. And just to meet the women officers, who are just commanding so much respect, and it's just amazing to watch them when they're on their job. And they are no less than the cops, because in our films, I think when Mardani came, people understood that yes, female cops also command the same kind of respect, right, like the male cops also, because in Hindi films, the male cops have always been given this larger than life kind of acknowledgement, where the female cops have not been able to, get that. And with Mardani for the first time, I just saw there was so much happiness and excitement with the female cops, because somebody was representing them. And we tried to make Shivani very true to what you'll see cops in real life, and very raw and very very edgy. And I think that's what I loved about, because they're so brave, but they don't portray that bravery in their appearance. Yes. They have, हम लोग बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में, जिगरा है. Right. तो वो जो जिगरा है उनमें, that is something that cannot be portrayed from an exterior look. They don't need to have muscles, or they don't need to have good built bodies, and they don't have to, look a certain way to actually have that inner strength and that inner power. Yeah. And I think that is what Shivani portrayed, the inner power of a woman, because see, women are, as it is, very strong. Yes. They're mentally so strong, they're emotionally so strong, but just the fact that they are daredevils, that is something that I think I took back with Shivani's character.
Wow, that's really an interesting analogy. My second character is a complete polar opposite of this, who is Tina from Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, where it all started. The conversations about how confident you were in those clothes, how you didn't flinch and bat an eyelid to even say those lines in front of these actors. That's truly iconic. It's groundbreaking. It started from this. What is it that you took back home from this character?
I took back Karan. No, I think what I took back honestly from Kuch Kuch Hota Hai is the amount of friendships that I made in that film. And they were just so wonderful in terms of, the innocence during the time that we shot Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, just the way we all were during the time, it was just too much fun to shoot Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, and the character Tina, though she was from an exterior perspective, she's very hot and she's very sexy and she wears these short skirts and she's, but from inside, again, Tina's a Indian girl, you know, she has Indian values. First time understands that Anjali's character is in love with Rahul because she's so sensitive, and as a woman, she understands the other woman's perspective and she sees the love in Anjali's eyes. So I think there was a lot more to Tina's character, and I think that's the brilliance of Karan as a writer, because I can't take credit for Tina's character. It was the writer who actually made Tina's character so wholesome, you know. And I think it was like every boy's dream to have a girl like Tina, because she was also really good to look at. At the same time, she was a very Indian girl. So I think that is something that I think men like. So yeah, so it was.
Yeah, she's an icon. Tina is an icon and will stay an icon. And Michelle in Black, one performance that got all of us sit up and notice, and oh, Rani can do this. She can push herself to these boundaries. What a revelation that film and your performance was.
Again, I would like to give credit to Sanjay Leela Bansali and nobody else, because it's always a director who comes up with these ideas or these films, and it is what they imagine that they want to do and bring that story on celluloid. And we actors come and we give life to those characters on screen. That's all we do. But the process of doing Black, the process of becoming Michelle McNally could not have happened if Sanjay had not aided me with that much research work that he had done. And he made me meet so many people who were deaf, impaired, and who were like hearing impaired and vision impaired, and they were like also they couldn't talk. So all the three senses that they didn't have. So I met so many of them, and it was just amazing to spend time with them. And again, what I really took back from them was that they were very, very self-respecting. They were very self-assured. They were very, I would say, they were the kind of people who would not like anybody pity them. And that is something that I found really fascinating, because even though there are certain things that have been taken away from them, but they were fighting each day to combat that and actually live a life of dignity and want to be treated like any other or any one of us. And I think that was fascinating for me, because as a human being, I grew as a human, like I grew as a person, because I realized that the silly nickerings and bickerings that happen in our day-to-day life has no meaning. You know, the fact that a person can be upset for maybe not have colored eyes, or a person who probably cribbed for the fact that he missed the bus or missed the train or was late at work, or you know, had a tiff with her boyfriend or his girlfriend. I think those are such juvenile things in compared to what I learned in Black, because you have to be grateful for everything that you have in your life, and it starts with the senses that you have, what you're born with, that you're born with the fact that you can hear, you can see, you can talk, you can walk, you know, and you can run. And these are things that as human beings we take for granted. And when I did Black, I just started to be so thankful and so grateful, because like as you said that, you know, people thought I didn't have a great voice, or you know, I was short, or like those things are just not important.
Didn't matter.
Means those are not even things that one should discuss, because they're so juvenile and they're so silly and they just have no standing. What is really important is that God has blessed you with a beautiful life, and that is something that we have to make the most use of, because that is what makes a person truly happy, you know. Because if you live, or you have friends, or you know of people who have a thing that if they are even impaired with one sense, you see the struggle that they have to do in their life to be able to just wanting to be that normal, you know. So I think it's very important that Black as a film, of course it did wonders for me as an actor, but as a person I think it did even much for me, you know, because I really started being grateful for everything in my life. So whatever I got, I was thankful, and that helped me not you know, get into ridiculous things or ridiculous conversations that happen in day-to-day life.
That's a great lesson. I mean, what else could you take from a film than this?
Exactly.
In Mrs. Chatterjee, you know, there is this dialogue that you say that I might be a good mother, I might be a bad mother, but at the end of the day, I'm a mother.
Yeah.
And that hits you so hard when you see that. And it doesn't matter if you're a father, a mother, a child, but for any human being, that line will resonate. I want to speak to you a bit about that. You know, how has motherhood changed doing that film? And are you that fiercely also protective of your daughter? Because I know you are, like any mother would be, right? How did that change your acting sensibility?
I have completely changed as a person, and a lot of people have told me that. So it's not my self-analysis, especially my husband feels that I am no longer the person that I was before I had Adira. So there is a before Adira and there's a after Adira. And I think that's similar in most cases with most mothers, because we are girls before we become mothers, and when we become mothers, we are only mothers. We cease to be anything else. I think there is a very, I would not say it's a transition, but it's a very natural change that comes within your body also, I would say physically, but also emotionally and mentally. You are transformed into being this person who has suddenly become responsible for some other life other than your own.
Right.
You see? So you suddenly change into a person that you never were. Like for me, like I lost sleep. Like I can't sleep the way I used to sleep before I had Adira. Right. You know, just as simple as a sleep. Yeah. You know, I don't sleep very well at night because there is always that back of my head, without even me knowing, in my subconscious, that I need to know that Adira is okay. She's absolutely fine. So a lot of people will think that this is a over exaggeration of what I'm talking as a mother, but if you ask a mother deep inside, she will tell you that you just change as a person completely, and your focal point of your life becomes your child. Like you cease to exist, which is very difficult for a human being, because human beings are known to be narcissistic and they are supposed to love themselves the most. And like I comes first, you know, for like everybody. And that's what people teach in a lot of sessions, that, you know, be kind to yourself, be loving to yourself, you know, do things that make you happy first before you can make anybody else happy. And everything goes down the drain when you become a mom. All these teachings just fly away the window, fly out of the window, because you are suddenly more concerned about your child's happiness, you're more concerned about the safety of your child, you're more concerned about what your child is doing, you're more concerned about somebody else. And this doesn't happen even with your parents. Right. I think only a parent can feel for a child. The child does not feel the same for a parent as much as the way a mother would feel for her child. That's what is my personal experience. It could differ from people to people. But if you ask me as a mother, I think I'm completely, and I don't shy away from saying this, I'm besotted by my child. As so all the mothers are, I'm sure, in the world. For every mother, their child is the best thing that has ever happened. And I personally take it as a blessing from the Almighty that I have a daughter, because there is nothing truly more special than having a daughter.
Absolutely. And if you're getting a Rani Mukerji film on top of that and a performance, then I mean, it's cherry on the cake for us. Finally, for everybody who's watching this on India Today, it's a Women's Day special. Just a very simple message. You know, Women's Day is a day that we celebrate women, but they should be celebrated every day. There are these random days that we have. But one thing that you want to just tell women, maybe
I think Women's Day is nice because you get those Women Day cards. Happy Women's Day, and there are nice things written about women. I think these days are only for those cards that you get to buy in the market. But for me, I think I celebrate being a woman every day of my life. Whether I've seen my mother and her struggles while she brought us up as children. I've seen her strength, her resilience, and her passion and the love that she had for me and my brother. So that is something that was very special to me as a child. When I see my friends or my colleagues, you know, women, I feel they all are truly, truly special because they all are out there doing their best in their field. Not only actors, I'm talking about my other friends who are in different fields. Mothers, you know, young mothers, you know, older mothers, grandmothers, daughters, sisters. I think there is something special about being a woman. And I think we are truly a kind of blessing for our families, because if you didn't have that female energy in your house, I think there would be some kind of depleted energy around you, you know. And I don't say it just by being a woman. There are so many men who have a female energy within them, and I think that is very, very special, because that gives a special edge to your personality, you know. And I love the woman side in me, because that helps me grow as a person every day. And I love that, because, you know, as a woman you have compassion, you have so much love to give. There is so much kindness, because, you know, forgiveness, which comes with being a mom. So I think as a woman, I'm been extremely lucky. As a mom, I feel extremely lucky. As a daughter, I felt extremely lucky, because I could be able to spend time with my parents and get their blessings and look after them in my lifetime. And I feel blessed for just playing these different roles of being a woman in my life. And I salute to all the women out there who are watching India Today, and so many of the women who are living their day-to-day lives with so much that they have to battle with a smiling face. And I just want to say to all of them that I love you, and a lot of love from my end, and a big hug. And let's celebrate this day with cards. Not that we need to celebrate this day specially, because every day is our day. But yeah, we can give each other some cards and some flowers. I wouldn't mind that.
You wouldn't mind that. And on that note, Women's Day or no day, we love Rani Mukerji.
Thank you.
It's always such a pleasure speaking to you. And Mrs Chatterjee Vs Norway, can't wait to watch it. We will connect closer to the film, but absolutely stoked about that particular film. Thank you, Rani, for this chat.